Good evening, good morning, good day, whatever time it is of the day it is to you, may it be good. My goodness, welcome to it. This is Chess and Wine, and I am Eddie La, and man, this thing is becoming too much. The stresses of the politics of Chess South Africa, when we had intended that this show, Chess and Wine, was going to be about entertainment. It was going to be about updating players of the current events, chess events that are taking place that they would want to be a part of, updating you about the current rising superstars, the chess phenoms, like the Michael Simpsons and the Vanilla Mangos and the what do they call it, Tiziani, what's the name of this guys from the Western Cape, a whole lot of those young upcoming promising players, juniors, and we see them in action and we speak about them and we make them famous as soccer stars, as rugby stars, and so forth. And we push this channel and we ensure that even non-chess lovers actually love hearing about chess stories, because obviously all stories of success are just stories of inspiration and stories of hope, and obviously community building, role models, creation, and all kinds of stuff. And that's what we intend. That's what we hope for. But we can't ignore the politics, because they definitely are factors. They definitely they bar these kids from opportunities. They just goodness. Wait, let us just do this. Let's deal with the politics, get it over with, and ensure that there is a straight way forward, a straight path after this, and then we're going to laugh about things. But still, even when we're talking about politics, we must remember that nothing said in here is serious. So don't take it too hard. Don't take it as facts. But obviously, it's based on some knowledge, and you should know that it's always based on some facts. But again, I'm allowed to make my own, to cast my own aspersions, obviously make my own interpretation. This is my show. And yes, this is what we're getting into. We're getting into Chess South Africa, which has turned out to be one individual calling shots. But wait, let's just go back to it. Let's go back a bit. Like, I know there was a bit of a background that was given in the previous 2-3 episodes. But then again now, there is, we're going to go into it. Let me just outline it for you. We'll just go back to, obviously, the court cases, the reinstatement of the Hendrik du Toit Committee, Expo, their interaction with other provinces, and obviously the situation we're in right now where all the provinces are suspended, and why we think they did that. Why? What all the facts are pointing to. What all the other things. Because it's serious, man. It's serious. Ka-ching! Yes. But again, before we start, yes, obviously our conclusion will be that we see what's happening. And we want our leaders to get up and do something. If you have been selected, elected, appointed a leader, whether a club, a region, a province, even a country, you've got a responsibility. I know there is this saying in African proverbs, you do not speak with your mouth full. People don't speak with their mouth full of food. So obviously those who are eating with the current corrupted Expo will not say anything. But then again, it is the duty of leaders, is in your shoulders as leaders, to speak up whenever you see injustice being done. And I keep saying injustice because it is unjust what is happening to all these players. It is unjust when you see that there are qualified players, there are very promising players, there are very strong chess players that are not getting opportunities to represent their country. Now, we've just had an SAJCC take place a few months back. And I'm going to show you the stats of the SAJCC. I'm going to read it to you. I'm not going to show you because obviously I don't have like those professional editors who are going to go throw it into the screen and you see it for yourself. But all this information is available if you request it from me via my WhatsApp. You all have my number, or you probably can inbox or just send a message on the whatever. I don't know. There's many ways to get in touch with me. My name is Eddie Bela, and everybody knows how to get in touch with me. Well, I hope so. I believe so. And if you don't know about me right now, you're new to Chess, welcome. Wait. It's been 4 or 5 minutes and we are still rambling. So, 2018, 2017, obviously, an election takes place. Mr. Mahomula is elected as Chessa president. But that election obviously gets challenged by people which I've mentioned in the previous episode, obviously, which was what is it, Mr. Hendrik de Doit, yes, calling it unofficial, unconstitutional, and so forth, and then the court cases start. They just go back and forth because obviously he claims that his expo is the one that should be the officially recognized one from 2018, 2019. This back and forth happens. And this whole time, the chess community in South Africa is confused. But besides the confusion of the chess community, there is also the division. That was the one big problem as well. Because players realize now that there's this expo, there's this interim expo as well. Because obviously there was an interim that had to be elected. So now there's two expos. Parallel executive boards running the same federation, basically. So that's basically what's happening. So now, I think that division persisted. It still continues, I'm sure, even now, because there are players that cannot go to some tournaments because they are afraid of being seen in company of other people, of other organizers, of other arbiters, of other players, because they'll be perceived to be taking a certain side. They'll be perceived to be in cahoots with a certain individual, or they'll be seen as they are the ones eating with the certain group or entity or whatsoever. So that spirit of community, of oneness, that one family in Chess South Africa has been destroyed. But we're hopeful that obviously it can be recovered, it can be resuscitated with good leadership, with good basically, yes, with good leadership, nothing else. That's basically what it needs. So we all share one love, one common love, the love of chess, the love of the game. But what happens is, obviously, all of this politics have caused so much drama, so much division, and. So now we continue in February 2022, where it's this issue, and actually before February, it ended up involving the FIDE, which is the International Chess Federation. It involved the SASCOC, the South African Confederation of Sports and Olympics Committee. It involved the Parliamentary Committee of Sports. And when those parties were sat down, it was decided that, okay, because there's been so many court cases going back and forth. This court favors this people, this party, this court favors this party, and so forth. And still there seems to be no direction in Chess South Africa. And as per request of those structures, those bodies that were involved, and the provincial councils, that is the presidents of the provinces, that let this decision taken by this court, let the judgment taken by this court be the final one, and everyone adhere to it so that we can move forward. Whether it favors you, Mr. Mahomola, or it favors you, Mr. du Toit, can we proceed and at least try to build from this rabble that you've left? Because it's obviously both of you's responsibility, but obviously not intentional, obviously, but you were all, yes, struggling. They say when elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. And the chess community was the grass in this case, and we had suffered. So the fighting must stop so that at least the grass can get a chance to grow back. It was agreed, decision was taken, and a judgment was to be made later on in the year. I think in February it was delivered, and it was decided that Mr. Hendrik de Doit's committee, the expo, was the one that was meant to be officially recognized since 2018. And it still is the executive board that must see the chess community through to the next election, and then harmoniously, obviously, leading the community of chess. And that was the decision that was taken. Probably could have been challenged, and probably again the judgment could have been overturned. We don't know, because the judgments have been overturned back and forth again and again. And this time everybody decided, and obviously those who have given their word, they kept their word and never challenged. And after the decision was made, and it was FIDE also sent obviously a congratulatory message to Doit and his commission and his committee, saying yes, obviously we recognize you as the now president. At some point, FIDA had to recognize 2 presidents for one nation, for one federation. But after the judgment, they obviously declared that there is one and we recognize you and we'll work with you going forward. But then what happened afterwards, again, is that the presidents, this is the funny thing, because we sort of, but let me not even go there, because we do look into our presidents when obviously there's all this bit of rambles and when there's all these things happening and we don't have direction. We're like, who is the leader of Mpumalanga Chess and why are they not doing anything? Why is Mpumalanga Chess not doing anything? Or why is Gauteng Chess? Or why is whatever province you're in? But then they decided to sit down together as presidents and say, okay, now this is because maybe they were also divided, some of them on this side and some of them on the other side. But at the end, they all decided, they all sat together, met and spoke as council, right? And said, wait, we will recognize and accept the decision of the court. You are, even though we have not voted for you, but the court has declared that you are the rightful president, and obviously your board is the one that must be recognized and accepted. So now come, we need to meet, and then obviously an ordinary general meeting, sit down, lay down some things, set some ground rules, and obviously create a path forward. Allow the grass to grow back, be a community again as a chess community. Now imagine what it took. This is the council. This is where the power lies. The chess power, the national power in chess does not lie with the board of 7 to 13 people. It lies with the council of 9 provinces, 2 members each. That is 18 people, and they're the ones with the say, with the voting rights as provinces. So they say, we want to come and meet with you. Let's decide. Let's carve a way forward together and bring back the stage of Chess South Africa and bring back our community and revive it. What does Hendrik du Toit say? All right, no, effectively, when he just says, you will abide by my rules and you will do as I say. I know that some of you have been trying to usurp power from me and do 1, 2, 3 things, and I want 1, 2, 3 from each and every one of you within 5 days. And if you don't provide any of the 1, 2, 3 within 5 days, I will, go to court and have the courts interdict you to do 1, 2, 3. And if you don't do it, you will pay the cost of it. Some serious threats. I mean, I could share the letters with you. And obviously, they recognize him as president because of the courts, but he does not want to recognize them as presidents, and he has to call them purported presidents of provinces. But then why not sit down with them and let them know why they are not the proper presidents, why they are not presidents that he recognizes? Because some of them obviously had proper elections. They were elected. Obviously, there is 1 or 2 that were interim presidents because they had to be handpicked to ensure that there is direction in their provinces. They had to be handpicked by somebody with the national level. I think some of them had been handpicked. I think that's the reason. Some of them had been handpicked by Mr. Mahomula as well when he was also in the executive, when his executive board was functional. So now he still sees the split and he looks at everyone with suspicion. And he believes that threatening them all would be the best way to deal with this issue. But I mean, he's a smart man. I don't think that he thought that it'll be best. Because again, I don't think that he wants what's best for South African chess. You know, there's this thing where somebody just tries to frustrate everybody out of leadership positions so that he can come in and put in his own people. Right? Because he's got his own plans. Something if you have your own devious plans and you know that there's people who are free, who are able to think for themselves and challenge. And I was about to say, and challenge leaders. I mean, because most people are afraid of challenging leaders. Maybe some were taught that leaders are not to be challenged. They were put in place to be detectors and obviously rule with an iron fist. And if you question your leader, you might get fired. You might get bad. It's discouraged in some communities. I know, it's the history of the country, but let's move forward. So now, moving forward, again, we have this issue where we have now this leader that sees that there is people in positions in the provinces that he wants to run, instead of the provinces that he wants to serve. But he thinks that with these people in this leadership roles, I may not be able to do my things, right? Like I said, this is an entertainment show. So he thinks, well, the best way to deal with this is to frustrate them. Obviously, alienate them from their own structure. Because again, Chess South Africa, CHESA, is a structure of the provinces because it is made up by the provinces. So now if one man tries to keep this, the CHESA, the structure, the Chess South Africa structure to himself and does not want to involve the provinces which makes it up, obviously the plan is to alienate them from it, get them frustrated. Maybe some of them will leave, like maybe some have already dropped out. And then he can proceed with his devious plans and put in place people who, because there is even a letter where he states that you need to state unequivocally, declare that you some of the words these are very like so remember there's this line in one of those letters that he wrote that it says, in the circumstances, we as the board of Chess South Africa hereby demand that the purported provincial presidents of Chess South Africa, the purported provincial presidents from here forth, will furnish us with written unequivocal, irrevocable and unconditional undertaking. This is some seriously. Look at this word. It's like unequivocal, irrevocable, and unconditional undertakings to the effect that the provincial presidents will do the following. Just that alone tells you what you're dealing with. Because this, I'm saying it's Hendrik saying this, Hendrik du Toit saying this to people, and not the executive board, because it's signed not by the secretary but by the president. So obviously it is him speaking to this president and saying that they must do 1, 2, 3 within 5 days. And this is a right hand, by the way. Yes. So you see what I'm saying? So this is kind of it's kind of crazy. So now if you're a leader and you know that I'm not here by your favor, I'm here because of my constituency which voted me to place. And I don't represent you, Mr. Hendrik du Toit, but I represent the regions and the members and the players. Why would I have to bow down to you? And obviously, you are there, you are meant to be there because you're meant to have been elected by us, by me, by our province. And now you're going to be the one that makes the rules, that gives us the rules and tells us what to do by when, and if not, then we're in trouble. What kind of sort of game is this? Wow. So it's crazy. But then again, those with food in their mouth cannot speak because the food will spit out and they'll be hungry, they'll starve. Because if you speak with food in your mouth, it'll fall out, right? Like, and then obviously you're spitting of food all over the place and it's disgusting and it becomes a mess. And obviously everybody else will see that you were eating and now you're not, because they knew when you were next to the boss and now you're no longer next to the boss. And obviously you are no longer immune to suspension. Now everybody else that is close by and eating cannot be suspended because obviously there's big plans ahead. And I'm not worried about the time because I see I'm on 18 minutes because I see that the flow of this thing is so good and it's going to go back to another 30 minutes and we're not going to blame it on the wine because the wine has nothing to do with it this time. It's just that the information connects so beautifully. Doesn't it though? My God. So here it is. There was a South African Junior Chess Championships that took place. I'm not even sure if I concluded this part that we were talking on. But I mean, anyway, everybody is able. Like, I'm speaking to chess players here. And I'm sure that chess players can put 1 and 2 together. And if you're a chess player and you can put 1 and 2 together, then you know that, like, some of these things, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, if there is no proper structure in a federation, there is only one person to speak to, right? Whenever you're trying to arrange your things. If there is only, there is no, whether it's a school governing body, whatever type of place, like any form of place that you find that does not have a proper structure, you look at the person that is maybe still in place as the president, then all communications go through him. Like communications with Chess South Africa. You know the funny thing about the letters that Chess South Africa has been writing to provinces? It says that they must write back or send back certain documentations to secretary at Chess. even though the secretary post is vacant. And the letter is not coming from their secretary, but rather coming from their president himself. Now you see the funny thing, like there's a whole lot of funny things. So it's a possibility that those letters may not be read or may not be seen in time, like any response. I wonder if anybody that responded got a response back. Again, we've spoken about the matter of decisions being taken by individuals because a whole lot of provinces don't have any minutes, any attendance registers for any of these resolutions that have been taken that are now obviously destructing them as provinces. But yes, so I wanted to come to this. So remember yesterday, or in the previous episode, we spoke about the SAJCC and the fact that the SAJCC South African Junior Chess Championships was attended by a few provinces. I happen to have the stats with me here today, and I'm gonna just go into them, and I'll show you. Like you see a few things. One thing is the number of provinces that have participated. And the other thing is the prize thing that I was speaking about. Remember I spoke about the prize factor? Obviously without the facts then, but the facts are coming now and they're agreeing with what I was saying. Because, I mean, these things are pretty obvious if you take the time to look at them, if you take the time to obviously ask the right questions. So look at this now. Like, the SAJCC was attended by 751 players this time around, as opposed to the past few years when there has always been over 2,000. I think from the first time I was I've attended the SAJCC, we've always seen it. There's always been over 2,000 people, always. I'm telling you, always over 2,000. I could just go back to the stats if I can find them quickly. There it is. In 2016, there were 2,298 players in the SAJCC. 2017 there was 2,152. 2018 there was 2,307. Then obviously we had COVID. And then in 2022 there was 745 players. And now what provinces were those players representing? Big part of them were from Gauteng. And that is the province where Henrik is from, Du Toit. Yes? So yes, they sent players because, again, I don't know how to say this. Let me not even say it in any way. But yes, Gauteng is his home base. He's from Tshwane Chess, obviously very active that side. We're not looking for a Tshwane Chess president. We're looking for a national president, someone who can just run the whole province and do, like every province must get the same treatment. But we know it's not like that. So yes, Gauteng had 426 players take part. Northwest had 112 players. Eastern Cape had 53. KwaZulu 65. Limpopo 15. Mpumalanga 0. Northern Cape 0. Western Cape 0. And then the Free State that brought 39 players. And I'm sure that the Free State, Limpopo, KwaZulu-Natal, and Eastern Cape people that brought the 50s or below 50 players, y'all in cahoots. Everybody that brought players to this league, to this tournament. I can't blame Gauteng because maybe they're being run by him, maybe they're not. But all the others, like, it is when they say what blah blah blah. Wait, it's the entertainment that comes in. That part was the entertainment part. But the only what it takes, or the only thing it takes for evil to triumph is for good people, for good men, women, children, players, to sit back and do nothing. But sometimes it's for them to do something, like bringing in players to the SAJCC when they see that there is a problem. Because when the Expo refused to meet with the provincial council, that is when everybody should have seen that there is a problem and decided, wait, we can't be sending out our players to competitions, national competitions, before we've had an ordinary general meeting with the Expo and we've sat together and outlined, because still the Expo, even if it's appointed by the court, is meant to represent the provinces. Because the executive board is chosen by the provinces to represent the interests of the provinces. So when they go out there, they're meant to speak to the provinces. But when the provinces are not in agreement with you, how are you representing their interests? When you're not in communication with the provinces, how are you representing their interests? Check Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape. Let me just see if Eastern Cape has brought in players. Eastern Cape had 53 players take part, and it was hosted in their province. Can you believe that? This event was hosted in the Eastern Cape, obviously without communicating with the president of the Eastern Cape, because again, he was a purported president that was not recognized by this executive board, and that's why, again, later on, they decided to suspend them. And then they went on to suspend everybody. But then now let's go back again to another thing. That is the cost of attending the SAJCC, which was again something that we've highlighted previously, that this system appears and is obviously unjust for the fact that it is trying to make chess an exclusive sport. Because when not a lot of people are included, when not a lot of people are cheering for the sport, not a lot of people are supporting, loving the sport, not a lot of people have a say in what's happening, and obviously that gives you a chance to go around doing dodgy stuff. That's what I'm suspecting. Because when you don't want spectators, you want to do things in the dark. But again, it's just me again fooling around. That is the 2016 cost. So in 2016, it'll cost you 615 rands to send a player to the SAJCC. So team entry fee per person, 615 rands. 2017 is 749 rands. 2018, 749 rands. And then in 2022, imagine, it is 1,250 rands per player. A team of 7 people. Yeah, so that's how it is. That's just how it is. So it's just about profiteering, and you just see it. That it's no longer about giving an opportunity to the young stars for them to shine. Because now if players participate in the SAJCC, they get to qualify to play at the SAJCCC, the South African Junior Chess Championships, or the South African Juniors Closed Chess Championships, which is where South Africa selects actually players that will represent the country in international tournaments. Now, that's what they're saying is that only players that can afford to pay 1,250 rands entry, and then obviously again afford to play another 2,000 rands or 2.5 or even 3,000 rands accommodation, because now they're hosting it on hotels. That's now about 3 point something, almost 4,000. And then afford transport to wherever that event is taking place. So now you're looking at the upwards of 5,000 rands. Making it expensive, making it exclusive. But then again, I say to you, leaders who have been elected in the provinces, leaders who have been elected in the regions, leaders who have been elected in clubs, it's time to get up and say something, do something, like take responsibility of the people that have voted for you, people that have don't get frustrated yet. Because frustration is also another tactic. They want to get you frustrated so that you drop everything and just leave until they come in, and then obviously they handpick a puppet and then have that puppet do as they say. That's just what it is. We seriously need to stop speaking this politics, because we are people in place, there are people in provinces, there are people in regions that need to get up and say we cannot allow this to continue. Chess is not supposed to be this expensive. Opportunities don't need to cost so much. Chess is difficult as a sport in itself. Now, you want to make it even more difficult for those who have mastered this game to go on to the next level and now need to be financed, or you making it difficult for what? For sponsors to come on board because of this political nonsense that you guys are playing? But what's happening? Come on, we want a lot of events to take place. We want to speak about these events. I mean, we want to announce the performance of players. We want to announce all of these different developments. We want to entertain with chess, because chess can, damn it, chess can be entertained. Chess is an entertainment. I mean, even for the watchers, the viewers, the audience, even the players alike. Like, you enjoy watching chess as much as you enjoy playing it. Let's get the game out there, man. Let's stop making it so exclusive. This has been a very long video. And I know there's still so much. And I'm worried that even if more info come in, we're going to have to now divulge some more, because we don't want to keep you in the dark, because we know you're the decision makers. You're the people that are meant to be taking steps, taking action. I mean, I'm only here to speak about this thing so that you can act. I'm not going to act on anything. What powers do I have? You're the provinces, you're the presidents, you're the leaders, you're the secretaries. That is upon you. Yes. Somebody told me I must start the show on the first class, and I ended up starting it on the last class again. Or did I drink through? But yeah, man, like, it's too late in the day. I want to make, this is meant to be fun. This is meant to be a fun podcast, people. Please, man. Let us bring fun back in chess. Let us bring back that spirit where anybody could go. Anyone from any province could go to a chess tournament without knowing who's hosting, who's running it. But know that when they get there, they'll be in a chess family. One with everybody. They'll end up sleeping at somebody else's house that they don't know, that they didn't know before, and they've made friends. And later on, they're doing other things with those friends. And that spirit of, because chess, man, I remember in the time of Professor, when we would go around, what's this place? KZN from MP from Northern Cape. We'll go to Mozambique. But when we get there, we see players from South Africa. We already won there. We're like a family when we get there. Like, anyway, got a free state, we go to any province. We want that. People need that. Look, we want that to come back. And it seems like the only person that is making that impossible right now is the person that is busy issuing threats to everybody that is speaking up. Chess players need to have voices, because when you think too much, you need to speak out what you're thinking. Because if you don't, then you get frustrated. You get to go crazy. I know a lot of chess players have went yeah, man, like, this is already too long. But I'm not sure if there was a conclusion there. I'm not sure if there was structure in this, but I'm sure there was a lot being said. And yeah, man, yeah. And, oh, gosh. No, we'll speak more about other things in the future. Kudos to all those who are hosting events in the next few days. 4th of January, we see some exciting events taking place. There is the Masters Challenge in Cape Town. There is the Diamond Club tournament as well in Kimberley. We'll be talking about that. And maybe obviously the AGM. That might never happen because everybody's been suspended. I don't think it's going to happen. So yes, this is it from me for tonight. This is only for entertainment. There's not a political show. There's not a factual show. This is Chess and Wine. And I am Eddie. Good evening.